So in this video, I'm going to be showing how to adjust and program the Miller Syncrowave 210 AC/DC arc welder. So I'm going to flip on the machine here and give it a couple of seconds to load. This part of the machine right here, or this second screen, is your amperage. The first screen is your open current voltage. This machine has an amperage knob, or an amperage adjusting knob, and also has the process selector here. And it does AC TIG, DC TIG, and DC stick. I'll start with the DC stick. So right now I can adjust my amperage up or down. The machine has a max of 150 amps, and this is DC only. There is a menu button right here. This menu button, you push it once and it gives you your dig option, and you can set your dig to whatever you want. Now this machine has Pro set features, so as you see, I go up to 30 and it says Pro and then 30% for dig control. So that's the dig Pro set feature for 7018. So as I move it, you can kind of see it flashes from 7018 and then it gives you your dig readout. So as you keep going upwards, once you get close to 65 or at 65, the Pro set feature for 6010 kicks in, and then from there it goes all the way up to 100%. By pushing the menu, you can kind of see the menu lights on. If you push the menu again, it goes back to your main amperage readout here. So you can also change the open current voltage on this machine by holding down the menu button for 3 seconds, and it says user menu, and then OCV, open current voltage, which is right now set to normal but can be set to low, and those are the only two options. And then of course you can hit your menu. You gotta hold it down and it says menu off, and then it goes back to your amperage readout. So you can see it says 11.6 volts at 150 amps. That is with the OCV in the low mode. Now if I wanted to switch it back, all I gotta do is just go back to my user menu and go back to normal. Click on this, menu off, back to high OCV readings. So it's on normal now, and that's pretty much it for the stick options. It's really that simple. So this option is a little bit more complicated for the first time user, but all these options on this machine the options get easier once you learn more on the machine. I mean, it's really easy to program and set everything up. So I'm going to go ahead and push my menu button here, and it says PPS, pulses per second, off. And this feature lets you set your pulses all the way up to 50. There are update cards for this machine that I'll talk about a little bit later on this video. So there's my pulses per second, and that's pretty much the two features right there. So if I hold down the menu button, I'll get into my user menu. So as you can see, the start here for the welding is set at HF, which is high frequency. And if I can move my amperage adjusting knob here to either lift or back to high frequency. Those are the only two options. Lift, that's for lift arc, or lift start. That's when you tap your tungsten on the work material and you lift it up, and it automatically just starts without contaminating your tungsten. The high frequency is for the remote. You get the high voltage or frequency arc that starts the weld, and with the high frequency you can use that with the finger remote and foot control remote. So when I go to push menu again, it tells me my tungsten setting, which is set at 330 seconds right now, but I can set that all the way down to 040 and all the way up to 1/8 tungsten. So those are the 4 options. It's 040, 1/16, 3/30 seconds, and 1/8. And I'll click on my menu again, and it tells me the post flow option here. Now post flow is set at auto, but I can get it to where you can have 0 post flow if you want to, and you can go all the way up to 50 seconds on your post flow. So what happens when you stop welding, this has an automatic timer, pretty much counts down in steps or per second until you get to 0, and then your post flow turns off. So at auto, you get about 15 seconds of post flow, and you can lower that if you wanted to save gas. It just all depends what you're going to be welding and what amperage you're going to be welding at. So that's set at auto. I'll go ahead and leave that there. And that's pretty much the 3 options that it gives you: your post flow or your start, your tungsten, and post flow settings. So I'm going to go ahead and hold down the menu again so I can get back to the default. So I'll go ahead and change my process selector switch to AC now. Now AC and DC TIG options are pretty much the same thing. So it says AC arc voltage, and then you have the amperage here, just like the other settings. So the minimum is 5 amps and the maximum is 210 amps. Same thing with the DC. On this machine, the AC DC does go all the way to 200 amps compared to only the 150 that you get out of the DC stick. So I'm going to go ahead and push my menu button, and it gives me my balance control. Now you don't get balance control on DC. That's with AC only. So the balance is set at 60, which is the lowest, and the highest is 80. Now this does have a Pro Set feature, and the Pro Set feature is at 75 balance. So that's your cleaning action right there, your balance. So if you want more cleaning, you would of course go all the way to 60, which is going to pretty much ball up your tungsten a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit. And then your Pro Set feature is 75, which is pretty much right in the middle. So you get really good cleaning action and really good penetration. For maximum penetration though, you would go to 80%. For maximum penetration, you do need to clean your material and wipe it down really good. So I'll go ahead and click the menu, or I'll actually put this back to Pro Set. I'll click the menu, and it gives me the pulses per second option for the AC. And this goes all the way down from off all the way to 50. So you can even go all the way down to 0.5, 0.1 pulse per second if you wanted to. I mean, that's really slow right there. And just like the DC, it gives you that pulsing action. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my menu again, and it takes me back to my default screen here. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the user menu now on the AC. So the start is high frequency, just like the DC. Lift and high frequency. Tungsten, all the way from 040 to 1/8, just like DC. And the post flow option, which is the same option just like DC. So I'll go ahead and hold down the user menu, and I'm back at my default screen here. So I can access more options by holding down the menu button for about 4 to 6 seconds. There's user menu, and then there's tech menu. So you can see there's my arc timer and cycle. And then there's the machine reset. You can reset the machine, and it also resets the timer. And then there's a software number, and then there's a serial number option. So I'll just go ahead and I'll get into the arc timer there. So by moving my amperage knob, I can check the timer that I've welded with this machine since I last used it. So it's 1 hour, 18 minutes, and 51 seconds. Now the cycles that I've started are actually pushing down, or every time that the high frequency has started, is 375 times. So it's a really high readout there. And the machine reset, all I would have to do is just turn the knob here, and it says if I want to reset yes, but I'm not going to do that, so I'll just hit the software number. And I mean, I really don't want to post this, but I'll just go ahead and leave those out for now. So I'll go ahead and hold my button there, and I'm back at my default settings there. So that's pretty much it for this machine. Once you get used to it, it's really easy to program. You get to know the settings like the back of your hand. It seemed to be more like a computer than a welder, but I mean, once you get used to the settings and ProSet features, it's a really good welder. Now I'm going to show you guys how to set the machine up. So I got my ground cable here, which I'm going to plug into the ground port on the machine, which will be the second part here, and there's a symbol here to let you know which one to plug it to. So that's my ground right there. And now I'm going to set up the TIG torch. Now here's the torch that comes with the machine, and as you can see, there's a flow through hole on this DINS connector. So there's no additional hoses to connect to an argon flow meter or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this into my first port here, which has the symbols for the TIG torch and the electrode holder. I'm going to go ahead and hook up the control or foot pedal control here that is also included with the machine. It's a very nice large TIG pedal here, so you get a whole bunch of wire. It's about 25 feet, 20 to 25 feet. So I'm going to plug a connector here to the front of my machine here, which is, there's only one connector here. So I'm just going to push that in, and I'm going to go ahead and twist it on there. And this is a threaded connector. So that's it right there. I'm ready for TIG welding now. So I'm going to go ahead and fire the machine up and get all my settings dialed in so I can start doing some TIG welding. Alright, so I'm going to be welding on this really thin aluminum piece of material here. And I've gone ahead and I've prepped it with a stainless steel brush that's dedicated for aluminum cleaning only. So this plate is just a smaller piece of this larger plate here, and you can kind of see the difference there, that I've cleaned this one, and this one is it's dirty. So this material is only 0.0195 inches thick, so it's 19.5 thousandths of an inch. So it's really thin material. 20 thousandths of an inch is the minimum for this machine. So my filler rod is going to be 40-43 1/16. So these are the beads that I just welded here. So I'm just going to go ahead and go into the cleaning action and the balance features that I just used with this machine. So the first bead that I did was this one here at the bottom, which was set at 75% balance. So that's my cleaning there. That's the Pro Set feature on the machine. So if you compare it to the next one where I changed the balance to 65, you can see the cleaning action or the cleaning zone here around the puddle or around the bead, that it appears to be wider. That's because it's more cleaning than the Pro Set feature. Now the Pro Set feature is right in between. It's recommended and it's not a bad feature at all. For dirtier aluminum, you would use 65%. You could even go down to 60%, which balls up the tungsten a little bit more, but you get that cleaning action. The top one here that I did was at 80%. I did have a little bit of trouble at the beginning of this weld because this isn't perfectly clean. All I did was wipe this material down after brushing it with the stainless steel brush. Alright, so I'm going to be doing a little bit of DC TIG welding here with the Miller Syncrowave 210. So right now I'm set up to a max of 195 amps on my machine, and I'm running a 330 seconds gray tungsten number 7 cup. I'm using the foot pedal on this one. All my settings or parameters on the machine are for welding 3/16 material, which I have here. Now I'm going to go ahead and run another bead over this one. I'm just going to probably let it cool down a little bit, but I don't know if you guys can see this on the camera, but here's the heat affected zone. Now since I don't know what my exact amperage was, being that my amperage is set at 195 amps when I floor the foot pedal, I was probably nearly about 3/4 of the way on the foot pedal, maybe even a little bit less. That's my weld there on this 3/16. Now to really check to see if it did penetrate, I'll go ahead and flip it over. And as you can tell, I was able to get penetration right along the center there. Alright, so I finally finished welding these two steel pieces together, which is 3/16 material. I did use a combination of 1/16 and 3/32 filler rods. So this video is going to conclude the AC and DC TIG video for the Miller Syncrowave. So here's the aluminum practice pieces or practice beads that I did. So that's all the TIG welding. Thanks for watching, and see you guys on the next one.